Hi, welcome to the channel once again, and my name is Cliff, and today we're coming to talk about reason why you should be loyal and faithful to anybody that's supporting you or your relatives abroad. And this is to all those back home, whether you're in India, whether you're in Pakistan, whether you're in Ghana, whether you're in Nigeria, South Africa, wherever you are, whether your brother is in Nigeria and is supporting you from Ghana, wherever your relative might travel to and is supporting you back home, reason why you should be loyal to them. So let me start with the story. There's this story about a guy who traveled outside and was trying to support this family but kept the secret from them. So he sent them some money to build a house for him, but the house was meant for his relatives because he felt they were in a bad state, so he needed to support them. So what happened was he kept sending the money, and they were duping him, and they built something which wasn't worth it, but they did build something for him. So he came back, and when he came back, he was so happy with what they did, and he took them to the building site and went like, "You've been my relatives. I have nothing to say, but the little way I can help you is to give you this property which you've built for me." So after I gave it to them, the relatives were full of regrets because they knew that the quality of building they built for him wasn't going to, which is now theirs, wasn't going to last for long. It was full of issues, plumbing issues, cheap electrical wires which could catch on fire anytime. It was like a trap. So now the trap belongs to them, and they came out to confess that if he could help them how to renovate the house, and we're like, "Why do you want to renovate the house which you just built?" Then they came out to confess to him. So the moral of the story is, you may not know what you are doing to somebody. Maybe you harming yourself, but you may not know whether you harming yourself till the song is over or the film is over. Then you find out, oh, so all this while I was hurting myself, thinking I was taking advantage of somebody else. So this podcast will focus on why you should be loyal and you should be honest to relatives abroad. So most of the times people travel outside I'm from Africa, so I always use Africa as an example, and go back to foreign countries to work. And most of them also have that perception of going back home to retire. So what happens is when they kind of find a job or started making some income, they try to save a little bit of the money to start something back home in preparation for their retirement. But many a time, relatives back home try to dupe them, try to destroy their investment, which I've talked about in my previous podcast, reasons not to invest in Africa. But I know people are still going to invest, so that's why I need to also make you guys back home a podcast to advise you people what it costs for you to keep doing the bad stuff you're doing. So people send money back home to relatives to build a house, invest in businesses, and everything collapses, and it becomes family tussle. People don't talk to each other. People kind of lose trust with each other and all that. One advice I should make it clear to people back home or back anywhere, whether Pakistan, anywhere in the world, anybody that sends you money to do something for him or her, know that maybe you might feel you cheating the person, but when the person finds out, it's over for you. That money, it's not coming again. And most of the times people who invest, maybe they come travel abroad and they start a family, their kids 80% of the time do not even need those properties their parents invest in back home in their country, because most of their kids kind of become citizens or locals in the community in which their parents find themselves, that it's very difficult for them to relocate back from where their parents are from. So you could see most of the time you say, oh, I'm a second generation immigrant, third generation immigrant. They don't want to go. They know they are from somewhere, but they're not interested in going because they don't have any bond and relationship over there. Most of their classmates are where they are. So they try to stay there because they feel it's a conducive environment for them. So most of the time, let's say your friend is trying to build or your relative is trying to build a house. Know that the house your relative is building, if you should build it or if you should do it for them, the good thing is mostly people go home to spend less than 2 months in the house. So that house will be a free accommodation for you for the rest of your life. Now, most of the times also, when the people who build the house kind of pass on this, get diseased, what happens is their kids kind of, they are not interested in those properties, so they give it out to relatives back home. So imagine you are in that situation where the person pass on and the property is down there. You have a free property for you and your family to survive on, since you don't have the opportunity to migrate like they did. Now, whenever you cheat on somebody who has migrated for a better, let's say, economic reasons or a better lifestyle, and is still thinking of you, one, you lose trust. And when you lose that trust, you are done. One, the person is not going to recommend you to anybody. Two, the person is not going to, support you. And most of the times, the people quit what they're doing. If they're building a house, they stop. Because I remember most of the times when I go for holidays, I find a lot of uncompleted houses, and I go like, why are there a lot of uncompleted houses? Didn't the people budget before they started the project? Why are there a lot of uncompleted? And most of the stories that go like, oh, this person started building, but it looks like the artisans were not speaking the truth, and he's tired of it, and he just left it because he has better things doing with his money and his life than giving it to bunch of crooked relatives and artisans to waste. So he loses trust in you, he stopped building it. And the funny thing is, that economic remittance that you keep getting stops coming, then you start to struggle. One thing I'll tell you guys is, like, you should be loyal, you should be trustworthy, and also you should be very open. And don't maybe get offended if people are asking you for receipts. Can you give me receipts for what you did for me? The person is not calling you a thief. All that the person is trying to say is, hey, I gave you X amount of money. I want a receipt to show that the X amount of money I gave you, you've utilized it well, and this is the receipt, and I want to see a picture or evidence of what you use it for. It's not offensive to ask for receipts. Whenever you go to a retail shop, let's say a ShopRite, a Costco, a Target, or a Walmart, you need a receipt. So why do people feel offended when they are being asked for receipt? You don't need to feel offended, right? So that is a little bit of one of the things that I've noticed. So I'll list 6 things that might happen if you continue to do that. One, there's going to be a breach of trust, and trust is a very big thing. When there is a breach of trust, nobody wants to deal with you. It's over. The game is over. When there is breach of trust, relationships are harmed, and when the relationship is over, everything is over. The game is over. So, and relationships are very important, because imagine, let's say, somebody keeps sending you money to do stuff for him or her, right? And you keep stealing the money, or you keep wasting the money, or you don't do what you are supposed to do, and you get into big trouble, let's say a medical issue or that, and that is the only person you can vouch or call and ask for money, but now you cannot call the person. How do you feel? Why do you break that bridge? Why do you bend that bridge Just be loyal, just be honest. That's all. Honesty, I learned that when I was a kid from my grandpa. Honesty takes you very far. You can be rich, but if it's out of corruption, nobody respects you. But if you're honest, people respect you. Now, the third one is you losing your ethical and your moral respect. Because let's say if you have a relative and your relative is a thief, I don't think you're going to recommend that person. So morally, that person is seen as a bad person. You're not going to recommend that person, and basically, you have no ethics, so nobody is going to vouch for you. So you've lost it there. Then, in that, the fourth one, you're going to lose your self-respect because nobody is going to respect you. And when you see that, it becomes a pattern that, hey, now nobody respects me because they think I'm a crook. I don't speak the truth. I'm not an honest person. You lose self-respect. People don't want to associate with you. And when you start to lose self-respect, it could go into an extended part whereby, let's say, you lose support from the people. That's the fifth one. Losing support is a big thing because we cannot do it alone. We all depend on each other. So losing support, it's a big deal. So you should be very, very careful about that. Then maybe if the person is an extremist and is very mad with what happened, could go on and kind of challenge you with the legal system. It's sad where somebody who once was your best friend or your best confidant, you're going to take him to he or she to court to jail them because of what happened. It's very sad. I think you people need to kind of self-reflect of that behavior. It needs to stop because I've talked to a lot of people in the diaspora and it's like it's a pattern which you might think you are gaming the system, but it's going to be over very soon. And when it's over, because most of our economies depend on people in the diaspora, and now when you interact with people in the diaspora, what they keep saying is, oh, don't go invest, don't send your money, there's a waste of money, just set a real estate business, just buy a second home, buy a third home, or just find an IRA and put your money into it. Don't forget about them, don't deal with themselves. You need to stop. There should be a level of honesty, because sometimes most of you blame your presidents and your politicians, but in your own circle as family, friends, you corrupt. And you spend most times in church praying. If you corrupt, it's not God that is going to shine on your face to make you a decent human being and speak the truth. If you corrupt, you corrupt. You get me? So this is an advice to people back home. You need to change your ways. You need to be honest. You need to be straightforward. And you need to be very, very loyal. Very, very loyal. Because most of the times what happens is, let me give you scenarios. Most of the times, maybe the person doing the project or doing the business back home might have put that in his plan that he or she is going to retire in Ghana. Imagine you work your whole life, right? And it's time for you to retire, to find out that your own relatives or your friends sabotage you, and your retirement is going to be a shithole. You're going to struggle through your retirement. You're going to struggle like you've never worked before through your retirement, even to just get a place to put your head. How will you feel? And the golden rule always says, do unto others what you want others to do unto you. So why do you guys keep doing that? Now, another scenario is most people who tend to build also back home are in sometimes are in immigration crisis. And sometimes when they are stressed out, they go like, man, I cannot deal with this immigration issues or all this legalization issues I'm going through, or the stress issues is taking the toll on my health. So I want to go back home. Imagine, let's say you spend 3, 4, 5, 6, a number of years sending money back home for them to do something for you, and they didn't do it. And now you're stressed out and you want somewhere to go and lay your head and you don't have anywhere. Do you think you'll be happy with your relatives or your friends? Guys, man, it's time you change your attitude towards life. It's time you show honesty. It's time you respect yourself, because dishonest people that means you have low self-esteem and you don't respect yourself. It's time you respect yourself. It's time you loyal to each other, and it's time you really, if you believe in God, Jesus Christ, it's time you do what He says. If you believe in Allah, whatever you believe in, it's time you follow the rules, because people get offended and some even go cursing people and people dying and others being called wicked because somebody spent his money, went to curse him and the person died. And also one thing about the societies, it's time we stop kind of allowing evil to perceive, because there's a society, there's a Ghanaian way of saying let's give it to God. It's too much. And the adults in it, sometimes instead of standing by the truth and speaking the truth, they go like they are very biased. They are very, very biased. Some are very, very corrupt and biased. And we could see it even in the highest positions in our country. Politics, presidencies and district assemblies. Very biased and very corrupt. So we need to change our mind, or else we'll still be beggars and life will be difficult for us and we're always going to struggle. So this is my short, brief podcast for the day. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you subscribe. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but I hope you learn something from it. If you have any comments, you can share it in the comment box. Share, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye.